Hashem Yazor. Well, anyway, so now with Rosh Chodesh Adar, and we have with Eliyahu. How do I say your name?
Eliyahu?
No, the last name.
Shalf.
Shalf? No,
Shalf.
You're joking.
In Hebrew, it's shalf. In Hebrew, you say sharf.
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 Okay.
Sharf.
Sharf a mensch.
Sharf mensch.
It's good.
Sharf yid.
Okay, so good. We have discussed the line with Eliyahu ben Shlomo. Should be Matzliach. Everything you're doing and everything should be blessed.
When I was a teenager, I used to
time of bracha.
have my screen name was Elijah ben Solomon.
Givaldic.
That was like my thing.
Should be blessed in everything.
Amen. Oh. All right.
Let's go. L'cheinikha karasha kamayim rizal. Afilu kolam kilo amarim lecha sadik ata. Hay beinecha karasha. Remember, this is we made a dik yesterday. The idea of karasha. You're not a rasha. You're just acting like a rasha. You're like a rasha. Lo rasha mamish, he says. And it's shechazik atzma lebeini. One should consider someone lebeinali. Lo la'amin la'olam she'omrim she'rasha bonis batal legabi atov zeh medrega sadik. And you should not get confused. Remember, we're clarifying. You didn't get to the level. Just going back a few lines. You didn't get to the level of being a sadik, because you can have demyonis. Like I said, you're around Rav Simaya. You're around big tzaddikim. With the Morgenstern. I don't know. Just list them with Ginsburg, whoever they are. You're BORUCH, and you start to fly on their level. When I went traveling with BORUCH, we were davening nates, we never slept, we were busy with the kehila, doing a spodidus, hearing from a tzaddik all day, every day. Fine, there was money, nisyonis, and other stuff going on that made it difficult, but at the same time, there was such like an isalis, like an aliyah. And then you come back to your house, and your face, you're not with him anymore.
Right.
Yeah, you're not hearing drosha with there night after night. Yeah, he used to give like an hour and a half speeches. Yeah, you're now sitting in your house, and you got to figure out, like what you're going to do now. You're not with the tzaddik all the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he causes a miyat ra, like a very big bittul of the ra, and that's something which makes you into a tzaddik. By him. But the reality is, it never really changes your situation inside. That's the thing. Maybe you improved a little bit. You learned some inyanim. But you did some avodas Hashem, you helped the tzaddik, it's a big schus and all that kind of stuff. But you yourself, inside your inner struggle, you weren't mashana that much. You still got a groba b'hei nefesh bahamis that enjoyed the premium Suda. You didn't get first class, that leave for the Rav, the tzaddik, but you got premium. So you still had a nice time, a nice butchers, as they say in England. Butchers means look. Right. I don't know why, but it's slang. You had a nice butchers at the movies that came out, the latest one, or whatever it is. Like, you weren't such a tzaddik. You still got the nefesh bahamis, or worse.
Nefesh bahamis stuff going on.
So the point is, therefore, so you don't have to dimyonis. So hopefully you're still holding by the Beinoni, that you are kurasha. You're having moments where you fool, but you're not a rasha, that you're still davik to Hashem, and his Torah mitzvah and the nefesh elikus is stronger in the mind and the heart. Eli be'einav ki'ilu mahosa esmosav arab tekufa gavorso b'chalav smoli k'dosa. Instead, he should take the view, the essence and core of the evils in its full native strength of mind, the left part of the heart. Lo chalef v'chalef imenu ma'uma. Not having vanished a part of him at all. Ada rabba, remember we had this yesterday, this chazek yotem mehem shechizman nishtamish b'harbe. B'chila v'shtia shani enam al-wazeh. So now you're not in the state of tefillah right now. You're in the state of what? Eating, drinking. You're not in Shachris and Shur David. You're not learning Bible of Shlomo, yeah? You're now hanging out with Eliezer, suddenly have a reader, yeah? Yeah, with Eliezer, suddenly we're talking about AI and social media and other nonsense. We're no longer in the place of such elikus, yeah? Uh-huh. So the elikus place, that's the, when your neshama gets strong and the mind and the heart. But now, on the right side of the heart, it's no longer as strong. And the left side of the heart awakens with the food and the shtiyah and the tanugim of this world. So you got to So you got to be real. That part is there, and don't have the dimyonis you're a tzaddik. As we said yesterday, what's the problem if we think we're a tzaddik and we're not? We're going to stop having the proper muhammads. We're going to stop mamin on ourselves. Yotam edai.
I figure, where are we?
We're just before this. I go to YITZCHAK. Af Misha Torah Hashem Chefso.
YITZCHAK Tevet. Yeah. Oh, over here.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's good. just catch up a little bit.
Right.
So the idea that it's very important to do this avoda of being real with yourself. If you're real with yourself, this guy just told me now he doesn't want to learn Tuesday. There's no like paid deal. We've just been a chavissa that we had for years since I moved in, pretty much. And look at tomorrow. Well, not that long, about a year almost. No, half a year actually, 6, 7, 8 months. So he just told me just like that. I said to him, I wasn't going to pretend. Oh, everything's good, love. No, I'm actually pissed off about it. Yeah, let me be real. Yeah, because I want to learn the tomorrow, and he was someone who gave me the rotzen every week to come and meet. I understand Rosh Hashanah's now giving a Hebrew shir at night. Rosh Hashanah's, trumps Eli. I get it. Yeah, I'm not offended by that point. That point's true.
Right.
But I am offended that he doesn't want to make an effort to figure it out some other way.
Right.
Because then why not? We were getting somewhere. We learned like tens of pieces of Likutei Moharan, and we moved somewhere. And I don't want to cancel it. So I'm going to still dram a cup about it. But the point is, if you're not real, if you pretend you're a tzaddik, and you're all the time, like my wife always says, suppressing your feelings, suppressing denial, you're not real with your mitzias, what's going to happen?
Yeah, it comes out.
It comes out in more crazy ways, in wild ways, because now you're thinking you're a Zohar tzaddik, acting like on a level you're not, and really you've got this whole turmoil going inside, emotionally and spiritually, and you're not able to clarify your inner being, so therefore it will spill out into rage or other stuff that comes out in people.
Yeah.
You see, there's a whole front world like this, man. My one of my best friends in Yiddishkeit, his name's Melech David Kantor. It's funny because he actually used his name Kantor before. Right. It was actually Kotler. But Kantor's in Manchester. That was weird that the Rav said that, because he's one of why he meant said his name and not Kotler. Okay. He's a good dogma of this. He's one of the top therapists in Manchester. And he told me when he became more involved with therapy in the from birth world, he said, Shalom Sani from birth. That was his comment to me. He didn't say those exact words. He said, I thank Hashem every day that I grew up from birth. Because the trauma that they have from Yiddishkeit, the fact that it's associated with Torah mitzvahs is the worst thing. Whereas for me, my trauma was with secular experiences. So I don't have all that baggage and association.
Right. Specifically the yeshiva world.
Yeah. He's in Manchester, which is very strong.
The modern Orthodox world doesn't really experience it that much.
Yeah, they play basketball and swim.
They have basketball. They have very healthy outlets in yeshiva. Yeah. When I was a teenager kid in yeshiva, or even an elementary school kid, the world was changing, and all they were focusing on was did you watch Harry Potter movies? Did you watch the Super Bowl? Like
in a bad way.
Are you following baseball?
Yeah, my son used to get in trouble for playing football in break time.
And
that was the best thing for him.
Right.
And he'd be a little bit late. And they'd fight with him about it.
Right.
And if they would have just said, let's make an actual fixed time, and you do this every day, and when we'll even cheer you on, and then l'chachila you do it, and then come back to Shiva fresh and ready to learn, it'll be geshmak.
Exactly.
Then knock in a Gemara after that, not get knocked by the mashgiach for being late. He was literally knocked. He broke his glasses, the whole thing. And look at him now; he's in the army. He himself will say, he'll say, I love Hashem, I have amunah on Hashem, I amunah on Sadiqim in the Torah, but the Shiva system, Hashem Shemenu, I don't want to put my kids in it.
Well, many of the
that's what my son's saying already. He's 19. That's where he's going away from the Shiva world, which is sad because they had a chance. They had years with him, but they didn't channel him.
I think the yeshiva systems in America are very slowly getting there.
Improving, yeah.
But I feel like the ones here in Israel are terrible.
Yeah, need a full shlema. So, but the nakuda is because then, in a way, they're ignoring the reality. This is the problem. And when you have a system that ignores reality, it's not real. And the mashgiach, we went once to a meeting for a mashgiach who was terrible to our kids, all of them. And they took a lot of money from us also to pay for tutors that we shouldn't have had to pay so much. And it was a very big nisoyim for me. When we went into the meeting, the mashgiach said, Elech Yid, that was his program. We're very into building Elech Yidin. Elech Yid. He was not Elech, but Klau. Right. When it came down to the money stuff and all the real tachlis, it was not Elech. He knew how to explain what an Elech Yid is, and he did a course, and the kids won little prizes or whatever. It was a cute idea, the concept of building Elech Yidin. I liked it originally. But when I saw his behavior, he wasn't even holding. It wasn't Elech.
Same with my kids. She was.
Yeah. So to be able to really connect to to this whole thing of being of the truth of Tanya and Beinoni, that we have to understand that it's about a real truthful perception of yourself and your inner workings, and then you can truly understand that you're not a tzaddik, you're halavai, a Beinoni, who's korasha. You have moments like korasha, you have moments of yurida, and you constantly do tshuva to get back to this level of Beinoni, where you're no longer doing sin in your thought, speech, and action.
Yeah.
Until now, I've been speaking of a working man who does not have the opportunity to spend all time in Torah and divine service. So that whole sugya was more for the balabatim, yeah? People like us, probably. And so in terms of the individual who spends all his time immersed in Torah, there's still people around who do this, Baruch Hashem, the whole Kol world, both in Chutz La'aretz and here, of people who dedicate their night and day to learning. Af misha b'Torah Hashem chefzo. Even if one's entire aspiration in God's Torah, which he studies day and night for its own sake, still is no proof whatever that the evil has been dishlodged from its place. Yeah? What happens in such a guy? We're going to see. I would assume the evil goes to sleep in a way. It's like a sleeping giant.
Right.
You put it to sleep. Because all day you're learning, davening, you don't really have time for it to manifest. Because you're constantly feeding your nefesh elokus with Torah, as long as you work on your meters as well. Exactly. Rather, the essence of some of the evil are in their full strength, and might in its abode in the left part of the heart. Rak sheblushav shehem machshav diba masa shal nefesh bahamis einem sparshim b'mach b'apeh v'yadayim v'shar avari haguf. Except as God named the thought, speech, and action, the animal soul are not invested in the brain, mouth, hands, and other part of the body. To think and do that is forbidden. Pnei Hashem nosin shlita memshala l'mayach halalev. God has granted the mind supremacy and dominion over the heart. Therefore, the divine soul and the mind rules over the small city. Yeah.
It's really interesting, he puts it like that.
Yeah.
Hashem gave us the ability, right? I think that's the difference between the Jewish mindset towards certain inyanim and the non-Jewish world.
Explain.
Not every person. Jews are like, no, we believe that Hashem has given us the ability for our brain to be shaylet on our heart, on the desires of the heart.
Right.
The non-Jewish world believes that if the heart desires something, then it's the only way to be one with that in yourself is to pursue and allow that desire to be part of you. It's like,
you have happiness.
I have the desire to have, to be with multiple women. I want to have a non-monogamous marriage.
But what stops a person from doing that? And if you're non-Jew, what?
If you're a non-Jew, I think.
Values.
So again, it's like the koyach. The Jews. Some of the non-Jews, have that.
There's religion for them also. They understand.
Religion, right.
There's values that they got inherited from Torah, basically, originally. Trace it back enough.
Right. I think that the religions of the world, some of them, have a certain bit of like the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach within it.
Yeah.
I think Islam has basically shaved off the murder part, but you see, it's interesting how like Christianity has become like a very interesting. Christianity is like is fractioned into a million places now.
Yeah, it's hard to pin it down to one.
So you really can't even pin it down.
Yeah.
But like certain parts of the Christianity, they mamish are like, it's very with a lot of inyanim. They're very like, like I met like some real, I don't know if it's Christian Protestants. I always forget which one it is, but like the real deal guys, and they're very like erliche like Christians. They like. The difference is their hashkafa is like a little bit. Forget about the Yashka Punchik part. That part, okay, but the hashkafa is more of like a fear-based Indian, but they believe in the idea of like having a pure marriage and a pure thing, and the kids and the thing and the life, and you see these guys being pro-Israel, and it's like not just pro-Israel because Yashka Punchik lives there, but they also pro-Israel because they see the evil that exists. It's a very clear.
Yes, there definitely is thank God, a rashim.
They have that little bit of a beer.
Yeah, they have, and I think the Rambam talks about how that's preparation for the Moshe Mashiach.
Right.
That they have a belief system that believes in a Mashiach, that there is a savior.
Right.
That they have certain foundations that the Rambam says was a achana for Mashiach to come.
Right.
That the nations of the world, instead of being purely pagan, should have some sort of belief in the oneness of Hashem. Obviously, it's got confused, and we know that, as you just said, there's lots of fractions, and even within Judaism, there's become all kinds of nisyonis of different groups and distorting our Masorah v'chulu. Yeah,
right.
And we have to deal with that also. So it's a difficult picture when you look at it on a global level, but on an inner level, when we're talking about someone who's dedicated to Torah, and you think of this person who's dislodged the evil from its place,
right?
Yeah, seemingly because of his lifestyle.
Yeah.
The reality that Balatanya reminds us that that's not true. He has not dislodged just because of a lifestyle.
Right.
Saying I'm going to learn all day in Kollel and dedicating yourself to Torah does not mean you've dislodged this evil from your place. It says perhaps the essence and substance of the evil in their full strength in the bone of the left part of the soul. What? Except, and he says, that the garments named the thought, speech, and action of the soul are not invested in the brain, mouth, and hands. They do not have any hashpah. Why? Why is there a supremacy of moach on the leif in this kind of guy's lifestyle? Because that's all he's doing all day. He's in Landish, he's learning, he's busy functioning in a very intense way of moach shal leif. How much does he have of gashmias? Very little. He's not going to party in Manhattan, he's not going to nightclubs, he's not pressing and takeaways, he's living simply, yeah?
Is the Chabad world, they don't have such a strong, I'm asking, a strong emphasis on kollel systems.
No, they're Inyan shlichus. They have a few years of learning, and there are elements of the Chabad world which is very strong in learning. Meaning there's like Chabad, there's places of learning in the Chabad world, and those people are like the Rabbonim of Chabad, if you know what I mean, the Mashpim and the Mashgichim, who go around machazaking all the shlichim, and they're the Rev Y.Y. Jacobson. I don't think he's had a day job, as far as I know. I think he's always been a teacher.
In Ohalei Torah, which is like the main yeshiva in Brooklyn.
I think he's always been a mashpia, a teacher of Torah.
They don't really
which is a job as well, obviously. But it's always been in Limudei Kodesh.
Right. In Ohalei Torah, they don't make an emphasis on the academic English studies. Like I was told, they don't really even teach much English there.
Yeah, so English, my son actually taught himself. We're slowly trying to get all our kids up to the level of a good English standard. Right. Thank God here, the school my daughter's at, they're teaching her English. And some of my other oldest daughter also went to school where she learned English.
Really, in your house growing with your kids, you only spoke Yiddish or Hebrew?
We spoke English as the main language.
So how come none of them speak English?
There's a lot of Yiddish and Hebrew mixed up, which is from their experience in school and the streets. And also we spoke a lot of Yinglish, you know what I mean?
Yeah. English.
Yiddish and English. So we did try and help them start to clarify each of those three. That there needs to be clear that this is Hebrew, this is English, and this is Yiddish, and not mix it all up. Because that isn't a sign that can happen in such a shtib, such a house, where you're mixing up words. So we're trying to... So my kids, thank God, they are learning it. They are getting better. My oldest son was the one who's probably the most poor in his English. And it just... I don't know. He made a choice at some point just to focus on Hebrew, mentally, and that's what it's very strong. But his Hebrew and his English and Yiddish probably still remembers somewhat, but his English is not as strong as it could be, and he wants to work on it. That's something he plans to work on. It's never too late. Remember, you can always look. It's harder when you get older, but you can always mush them.
My kids are already ahead of me in Hebrew.
Baruch Hashem. Yeah, thank God all my kids speak Hebrew. That's one child that when she came to frat initially needed a bit of tutoring, but she's caught up Baruch Hashem in Hebrew as well. And therefore the divine soul and the mind rules over the small city, all parts of the body, making the body organ serve as garment and vehicle. So do you understand that because his divine soul that's all he's busy with all day? Mm-hmm. This is the kind of Torah. He's not talking about Torah where you're not learning properly. The Balaton's assumption here is you're learning correctly, and you're learning in such a way that your nefesh elokus is strengthening, and it's ruling over this ir katana and all the parts of the body. Shavush making them the body serve as garments and vehicle. Yeah. I remember when I left Kollel, the first time when I got a job for a big charity in Israel. It's called the Jaffins Show. For a friend who's big donator there. He got me the job, and he's a big supporter there, and his father as well. So they gave me the job, and I worked for the Jaffins Shoot for about 5-6 years. In the meanwhile, I also ended up working for Hashrenu, and I ended up bit by bit getting back into the teaching world while I was there. But because the yeshiva world had a big problem with Madoff, so I had to sort of get out of that space. Jake closed down, things changed. Yeshivas weren't what they were, so I had to go back into like the world. And my first job was with this Jaffa Institute before I went into other corporate spaces or whatever. And working for a charity, it was very hard for me to have to leave every day after Shacharis and not go to Kollel, but to go to an office and sit there all day. I used to pine to just get out of there and run back to the Beis Midrash. That's where I wanted to be. And it took me a while to get over the fact that I was like the whole Bittul Torah way of thinking. It took me a while, like it took me about a few years to just like sort of not let go of, because I had the all of Torah, but just to not be crazy from it. Not like lose my simcha, that I felt like I was wasting my time with these projects for this institution, helping them with their kids or whatever it was, raise money and stuff. That being online, I felt like I was like, between this and Torah, it was like, it was very painful. It took a while to work it through and let go. Because it becomes like part of your nefesh.
I grew up with that.
The all of Torah,
yeshiva system.
Yeah, the all of Torah. That this is what life's about.
Where I was in yeshiva, the word balabas is a derogatory. It's what you call someone if you want to make fun of them. You go, he's such a balabas.
Wow.
Which basically means like anybody who works in the yeshiva world that I was from. Yeah. Anybody who worked was like just you were like a failure. Well, in the Tanya, he first went straight to that guy. He didn't go to the Torah guy. He's only now getting to the Torah guy. He went to the guy who's working, but still has a nefesh elikus and still can be a Beinoni. Right, and I think what he's saying here also is that like just because you're sitting and learning doesn't mean that you're
okay.
You're not a Beinoni. You're in the same level as the other guy who works in the stocks.
Then they still got this nefesh bahamas you didn't deal with.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have to deal with it. Through which 3 garments, namely the thought, speech, and action, and Torah 613 are express clothed. So that's what he's busy. He's manifesting constantly Torah mitzvahs, and the divine soul has the upper hand. This is like the ideal Torah guy in terms of the Torah world, and the animal soul is subservient.
Yeah.
So when you go to a guy and start talking about the animal soul, a lot of these guys are not going to be so universal in their language and how they understand it. Like you had that conversation with the Brisker dude. They're not going to understand your animal soul problems because they are immersed in the divine soul.
Right. Or else, maybe they think they are. Some of them aren't.
Like one of the first things when I went to get a job at Ner Yaakov the last few years it was around, the Rosh Shiva asked me, more than he cared about my learning and my quality of Torah, he asked me, do you understand about boyfriend-girlfriend stuff? Are you able to talk to guys about this? What's your opinion on that? That was the first thing he asked me, Rabbi Liff. He wanted me to know, can I deal with the Nefesh Bahamas? Because if I'm not going to be Nefesh Elikus the whole time, these guys, I'm losing them. Yeah?
Rabbi Liff was great.
Haval Mahusam, it's Musa Shal Nefesh, Elikus, Ein La Shlita Mamshala, Al Mahus, it's Musa Shal Nefesh, Bahamas, Beinoni. Having its essence and substance, the divine soul has no preponderance over the essence and substance of the animal soul in the case of a Beinoni. Ki im b'shah shahavas Hashem hu is galus libo. Except at the time when his love for Hashem manifests itself in his heart, be'itim izmanim k'mo shasa tefila k'yotza bo on propitious occasions such as during prayer and the like. Yeah, he's in a state of islavus and avas Hashem. Af gamzos hapam. Even then, during those times, the divine soul gains the upper hand over the animal soul. Einarak shlita memshal lavad is limited preponderance and dominion alone. Yeah, I don't know what preponderance actually means, but shlita, control, I suppose, in some way. What does preponderance mean? You know
preponderance?
Preponderance. Would you have a better word than that?
I don't know. I was still catching up. Where were you?
It says be'it. So I would say this guy. Yeah, that's
specific times. Be'itim. Yeah. Mezuma.
Yeah.
Mezumanim k'moy b'shas.
Yeah, on probation such as he's in a good time.
At specific times, such as during prayer.
Yeah, he's in a high state of avad. Carry reading. Even then.
Yav comes out a pama ino rak shlita b'mshal levad. for even in this case, is limited to a mere control and dominance.
Oh, control. So he says preponderance is control.
Preponderance?
Shlita. That's the word it uses here. So your word is more.
Oh, shlita. Oh, it's like
shlita is control.
Sholet.
Yeah. So control is more up to our level
or dominance
of language, and dominance is memshala.
Memshala, okay.
It's a slightly different word. Levad. Yeah. So that's a level where he's controlling. Control does not mean you've changed. You understand? When you have a kid and you're controlling him, or you have an employee and you're controlling, it doesn't mean you've changed him. Yeah?
Right.
All you've done is you've got shlita on him.
Tamed the beast.
Yeah. Now to get him, this is what for me the big nachas.
This is all 12 steps. Torah also
with hinuch and real management in a company is you've got that person to now want what you want. They and not manipulation. You want them what's good for them also. You want because what's good for them is the nefesh elokis. You want them to also be involved. As the rabbi said here, very important point he mentioned. I'm very happy you mentioned it, Rav Shlomo just now. He said, when he's explaining Chochmah bin Adas and he was explaining Chochmah, Bittul, people think Bittul is a scary negative thing. Yeah, if you say, I'm going to makav Jews by teaching them about Bittul, imagine that. You say, I'm going to bring all these people to a Shabbaton and I'm going to talk to them about how they need to nullify themselves.
Right.
Most people in Kiruv would not go down that road.
That's a very misunderstood word.
Oh, so what's the answer Rav Shlomo added in, which was really important? The Indian of Bittul allows us to what? It allows us to get to the level of nullification that we are in the Olam HaTanugim. We're in the world of true pleasure, the pleasure of the Nefesh Elokis.
Interesting.
And that is teaching them the pleasures of Torah mitzvahs, of Shabbos, of doing what's in Hashem. That's really what you got to focus in on. That the bittul brings us to and that's what Rav Shlomo was saying, brings us to the greatest pleasures, much more than the following the body. The Nefesh Bahamis. So it's a sort of elevation of the understanding of what the Nefesh Elokis is about. So really, the key is, say a real Torah world Yid, he's going to be the kind of guy who understands the pleasure of learning Torah, of learning a Tosfos and learning a Rashbam and being Masbir and understanding what the Mishnah Berurah meant based on the Rav Shulchan Aruch and all the different Pilpul and Yegiyas HaTorah, getting into the geschmack of it. That in itself will makav him and everyone around him because he's in a state of devekus through the Torah and through the tefillah. He's also in a davening. So he's in an elevated state. That's the kind of bentor you want to hang around with. Yeah?
Right.
So his nefesh elokis is the geschmackest thing there is. Now, what's going to happen when he's in that state of ahava and his love is revealed, as we just said, and it's revealed in his heart? Yeah, and those moments it's emphasized even more through tefillah and high moments in Yiddishkeit that. He has the upper hand over the hand of the soul, but he only, in that state, let's be honest, he's only controlling it and dominant over it. But he hasn't changed it, that animal soul again, mate. It's still there.
Right.
Here,
he has a really interesting...
go on.
To sum it up, we have witnessed the Beinoni in 4 different settings.
Go on.
One is not immersed in Torah and prayer.
Yes.
He experiences urges from the animal soul, and only succeeding in deflecting them through God's assistance.
Yeah, he needs Hashem's
assigning Hashem's light, right? The R, what
we learned that before,
whatever it was.
Hashem shines his light. The net.
Let me see the words here. He says here.
Or
the Or Hashem, Shemeir Or Hashem ala nefesh.
So that's saving that guy.
That saves him from the thing.
However, how does that work practically? I suppose he's connected to a tzaddik or.
Yeah, you could say.
His tati's a big tzaddik, or his friend happens to be a holy yid. He slaps into Uman and he ends up...
Or a big Beinoni.
Yeah, ends up experiencing a lot of light in Yiddishkeit. Yeah, he's in Shirat David, whatever. He's in the right place at the right time. So he's not such a...
we go back to this part. This is where the Rebbe Shlita says, the assistance, which the Tanya speaks of here, is the divine soul's ability to get in touch with its true self.
Okay.
To stop for a moment being bound by limitations of a soul and behave in accordance with its inner, truly divine identity.
Okay, so he's actually tremendously self-aware.
He's in a state of dvekas, potentially.
Yeah. And this guy doesn't have that much learning and Yiddishkeit going on.
He's a bum.
But he has a lot of self-awareness.
He's a bum.
And that's interesting. That's a Chiddush kind of person. Okay, I don't see so much of that.
Right.
Honestly. I think most people are having to have a Seder in learning or davening to really get anywhere.
So again, going back to this, I know it's like whatever, you see this a lot, especially if you listen to Reb Shais Taub.
Yeah.
This is like, there's like an Indian of 12 steps,
Sure.
Like
the 12 steps. They don't have Torah mitzvahs, and yet they're very connected
these
to
guys.
Hashem. Yeah, it's true.
They're
a good example. Oh, they're an example of this guy.
I've heard like a hardcore guy, like an Italian, like just mystic person. Like you would see him and you'd just be like, ugh. Yeah. And I've heard it. Like this guy would say, he's like, I was driving on like street and this mother bleeper cut me off. Yeah. He's like, and I wanted to bash in the guy's skull. And I pulled over to the side of the road and I prayed for that mother effer. That's exactly what he said. Wow. You're just like, whoa. And he's like, and it went away. And the urge to kill him, it went away. And you're like, whoa. That's the Indian, right? It's about praying. Whatever, these are trips. This is where like you get like a little bit of a Nachman's Torah, like he gives you a lot of tools on how to use it. You were saying that you get the Tanya and you get the thing, put it together.
I do think the 12 steps is very helpful for Israel. Because it's like all these kind of concepts, like Stephen Covey's books as well. It brings it into language and universal tools that we can all apply as human beings, and it will help us be real. The fact that we do have a Nefesh Bahamis, and we do have the problem is if we only use tools of Torah in a very like Torah-dic way, right? Then once again, as I said before, like all these Ney Yaakov guys back in the day, or Nevei Sion guys, or whoever it is nowadays, Fisher boys, we're not going to be able to communicate to those kind of kids. The new generation of TikTok kids, how are we going to communicate them if we're only using tools of Torah? We have to obviously realize everything goes back to the Torah, and it's all Elikus, it's all Hashem, but we have to allow ourselves to have the humility to learn from other people. Like Dr. Twersky, he was an example of that. He was able to bring tremendous concepts from the world and bring it into beautiful books of self-esteem, things that people needed help with the last 50 years or whatever. And I think that each of us, if we've had experience of, say, 12 steps or other concepts that are universal, we have a sort of responsibility to help the learning that we're doing to now be communicated through these universal concepts. Mm-hmm. I think if we keep it too much within ourselves, we don't share this wisdom, like one of the beautiful principles of the 12 steps, now you have a responsibility to help another person. Right. If you keep it to your journey of success in recovery to yourself, that's not the full recovery. Right. Full recovery means you got to help someone else.
Right. That's the last step.
Yeah. So same with YITZCHAK.
You got to give.
Same with universal principles of wisdom, of success, of money, or whatever it is. Right. Now use it to help another person. Don't keep it to yourself.
You can't keep it unless you give it away.
Exactly. I think that's emes amito.
Give to those that were that which was freely given to you.
Yeah. That's I wouldn't be sitting here if people hadn't done it for me. So, I wouldn't be shomer Torah mitzvahs. Someone hadn't had done the work like Chabad and other people to build the Osamech Torah, hadn't built these places for people like myself to be able to learn. Otherwise, what bridge would I've had? Yeah. So that's the Indian. So the Ben Torah, he's on a level where he's completely in dominance and control of his Nefesh Bahamis and his Lev Smoli. But then it brings the pasuk as it's written, Yaakov and Esav. Yeah.
Even these cases, a fourth level.
Oh, fourth one. Sorry.
Why then did the Tanya Beinoni? At the Beinoni is always like a Rasha. Okay, yeah. This is rock.
That we brought before, yeah.
Right, it's just momentarily. Okay, Kediksev.
Right. Yeah, so this struggle between Yaakov and Esav, eternal struggle between one nation over another. And the Yetzer Tov versus the Yetzer Hara, which is what Yaakov is Yetzer Tov and Esav is Yetzer Hara in this case. You do not. It's like the world always says. It's a jungle out there. Someone's going to dominate. Yeah. So who's going to dominate? The Sadek or the Rasha? The Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara. Zer comes there nofel. Zer come. This agrees with our comment on the verse. When this one rises, prevails. That one falls. When that one rises, this one falls. The animal soul, though it had fallen during prayers, afterwards able to rise and rally again, indicating the divine soul had not succeeded in vanquishing it before prayer. For which reason, even its dominance is only temporary. So even these Aveichim, at the end of the day, they're still going to have a Yetzer Hara that's going to jump out. and they might come out in some of the shtick that goes on with how they survive financially, because they have a temptation to do shtick with money stuff. There's some people out there who give them fake business stuff. There's a whole story going on in the
now he
Torah
brings in a new one here.
So they're going to have the Yitzhak also.
He's bringing in Bina.
Let's go. The divine soul gains strength and sentry over the animal soul. It's Gavris al Nefesh Bahamis, Makor Gavuris, and its source is sourced in Gavuris, in Gavuris, Shehi Bina, which is understanding, Bina. Because if you understand in Kabbalah, the concept of Bina is higher up than Gevura, in the Kav.
Right.
You have these Kavim. You have the Kav Yamin, which is Chochmah, Chesed, Netzach. And you have the Kav Smul, which is Bina, Gevura, and Hod. And the Kav Emsoi, the middle Kav, is either Keser, Das. That was my question of Shlomo in the Shir. Keser, Das.
Isn't Keser the top?
Yeah, Keser, but Das, how can that be 11 spheres? That was my question to him. So they interchange, Keser to Das, and then goes through to Teferes and to Yesod Malchus. So that's the Kavim. Sorry, here he's talking about this from the left side. Remember, we're talking about the left side of the heart, literally. That's all dealing with the left. The left, the small e, is to do with Bina, Gevura, Hod. He doesn't mention Hod here, he just mentions Gevuras, and it's sourced in Bina. In Kabbalah, description of the Bina as a source of Gevura. In terms of one's father, that means the source of its strength, Gevura, to combat the animal has found a faculty of understanding. What do we call women in Eretz Yisrael? What do we call them? When you see your missus, what is a missus? In England, it's a missus. What's if they still use
Geveret?
That? Geveret. Gevura.
Interesting.
She's Geveret. There's no bigger Geveret than a woman when her child's in danger or someone's being mean to her son.
Mama bear.
Geveret,
Right, she's a mama
She's going to come.
Especially Israeli ladies.
Come to the Manau and shech the Manau, which is gewaldig.
Shecht,
This Bonim Galas Hashem, Ein Sof Baruch Hu.
I'm just reading this. According to Kabbalah, the 10 Sefirot.
You can say it better than me.
The 10 Sefirot.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel my chakras also.
My students used to call me Rabbi. Used to say it like that.
Oh, so
every time I said I don't feel comfortable with this Rabbi business. Yeah.
Right.
What am I, Rabbi? It sounds terrible.
My son used to do that just to annoy the rabbis. We'd call them Rabbi. The Sefirot, I like the chakras.
You just call me like, I don't know.
So I like the chakras. I love my chakras.
Call me something else.
The chakras.
Rabbi.
I'm a chakra shaker.
Go on. Chakra cities, I say most is a sheker. So, I always thought about it.
10 spheres are mapped out on the 3 vertical columns. To the right side of the sphere associated with expansiveness, imagination, giving, and boundlessness. The left side is one of restraint, discipline, precision, and containment. The middle column seeks to harmonize and integrate the two extremes. I didn't know that. Of the 2 poles,
what did you not know? Tell me. I
didn't know that the left side was the idea of like expansiveness and creativity and imagination and mamish like. That's the right side. Sorry,
the right side.
And then the left side is restraint, discipline, decision. I always thought it was more like top, middle, bottom.
No, it's right and left brain.
Is a kef gadol.
And that's brought, I think, scientifically as well. I think
I know the left brain and the right brain. And you, Omer, Ken, in the middle seeks to harmonize and integrate the Kusha thing.
Good.
Harmonize.
So, harmonize. Teferes is harmony. Das is synergizing. Yesod is synergizing. It's all about bringing together. Keser Malchus is bringing down the highest all the way down to the Kli, which is Malchus.
Klipas. Of the 2 poles, the left is endowed with more intense power.
Yeah, there's a power there, because now you need to tune into the Gevura side of yourself. Have you noticed Rosh Hashanah has been talking a lot about Gevura? Gevura, Kedusha. What's the Gevura? Because we need to, right now, Ms. Gabe on the road in the world.
Prayer meditation.
You can't, it's not the time now for this Kavod Yamin to fight these people.
Right.
Yeah? It's the only way to fight these people, to fight this evil that's manifested in the world, is through the Kav of Gevura.
To kill them all.
Yeah, my Rebbe calls it the Kav of Simcha, or Kav of Yira. He changes it, the terminology, because remember we said Bina is Simcha. And he says, he likes the Mumtik thing. So he's saying Kav of Yira. Yira is also connected to Gevura, but he doesn't use the word Gevura. He uses the word Kav of Simcha, Kav of Yira. He doesn't talk so much about Gevura. Okay.
Yeah, it says Bina. The Bina is the left side. There's Sephardic. The Sephirotic.
I don't know these words, man. They kill me. The academic stuff.
Kavura.
No, that's fine. But the Sephardic.
Sephardic tree.
I mean, what is that?
The Sephardic tree.
Okay, whatever.
I love a Sephardic tree.
I mean, it's a good word if you try and explain
tattoo on my back.
To someone who's very academic. But we're sitting learning Tanya.
In simple terms, there you go. Finally, some Yiddish stuff here.
Yeah.
An idea becomes especially powerful and compelling when you grasp it fully in all its glorious detail.
That fit. Now we're going to get into it. This is today's shir from Rav Shlomo. You have to go through Seder, Mivara, the Chochmah, the Bina, the Das. You have to clarify all the levels more and more. This is what we're doing over here with all these different levels of Beinonim.
Focus.
We're clarifying. Lisbonim begadlas Hashem. That when the divine soul gains strength.
Yeah.
Ein Sof Baruch Hu. How? By being misbonin in Hashem, in the greatness of Hashem. Laholid, Ava.
The blessed one.
Aza, Hashem, Karish Ba'esh, B'hala Yamini Shabaliba. Remember, we mentioned this already. Right, this idea. You're pondering on the greatness, but this is in a different context.
Yeah.
We're now in a different context, even though we mentioned this before. Let's see how he's going to explain it in this context. Pondering on the greatness of Hashem awakens, gives birth to these intense emotions of flaming love.
Tanya is giving you now a meditation to do. He's telling you. I don't know, they use the word meditation. Is that
this next lashon is what it's all about.
Focusing on your mind on the greatness of Hashem, the godless Hashem.
To do what? What are we trying to do with it? As his kafia sitra achel chalal smuli. To what? To dominate the animal soul.
Crush it.
And the sitra achel, the evil animal, the animal left part of the heart, subjugated.
The klipa crusher.
Yeah. Aval lo nisbach legame beinoni ela besadik. But this is the real. Once again. Is not entirely abolished in the case of the Beinoni, is only so in the Tzaddik, considering it says by the Tzaddik, Libi Chala Bekirbi, David HaMelech reached that level of the left side of the heart became void, empty of the Yitzhak. V'umas bara v'soneh b'tachlis asina mias, or shalor b'tachlis asina canal. He, the Tzaddik, despises and loathes the evil with consummate hatred. He goes the whole way.
Yeah,
he's full in the whole way of just this. Destroying the evil within. That's David HaMelech. He fasts, he says Tehillim, he does everything he can. He's Moshe Nefesh from Yisrael. He's on the highest levels.
You know what's funny? My son always tells me this story. Yeah. Even with David HaMelech, right? We had a David HaMelech die. He knew, was it David HaMelech? He knew that the Malach HaMavos was coming to get him.
Oh, that Gemara in Shabbos.
And so he just kept learning until there was a disturbance in the courtyard.
Went out onto the stairs.
And if you really think about it in terms of the Tanya, like, he Lamaisa, as long as he was learning and Tehillim and this and that.
We see that a few times in the Tanya.
There was no chance.
The Yitzhak can't do nothing.
Couldn't do anything there, but the second David HaMelech stopped,
kabam!
I got him.
So too with Rabbah. It said by a lot of time, Tanaim Amoraim, the only way the Yitzhak could take them from this world, because they were so davik to Torah, is to disturb them, to get them out of that Dvekus. So even David HaMelech on his level, he had no evil within, but outside of him, the noise could affect him.
Which is the same, it's like with Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was like in a state of Dvekus, his hands were up, he was connected. The second they would start going down, I mean, Lamaisa wasn't just his hands; he wasn't a magician.
You know all those movies where you see the guy who gets angry, or he gets that. You see that causes more damage physically than anything.
Yeah,
the inner Yetzirah raging inside, it's like trying to kill him from within, literally giving him a heart attack or whatever it does. So it manifests all these diseases. Chas v'shalom. So what we have to do is obviously. Work on that inner nudnik, because it's the cause. It could be cause of our destruction.
I like
literally.
That one, the inner nudnik.
Yeah. Aber Beinoni who derech mashu k'adam sheishan, all the above applies to the tzaddik.
So let me just catch
no
it.
Problem. Yeah, he's killed that Yitzhak. That's David HaMelech. And he hates it with the complete tachlis of Sina. The strongest form of hate. So that guy, that tzaddik's able to remove the evil because of his deep hatred. He's all in. But let's be honest, you hate, you hate the physical things, pleasures of this world with a tachlis asina.
It's almost like impossible. To be on that type of level is a level that 99.9% of us cannot even imagine how that makes sense. We can detest it in our logic, right? We can say, when I think about eating just a fancy steak, like it's just what are we doing on this world? This is what we're here for, to just stuff our faces. But Lamaisa, we see the steak at the table. We go to a kiddush and there's like cured beef.
Sure.
And we're still like, let me just try a piece to see what it's about. And you eat it and you're like, Lamaisa, it's pure lamhaza.
Yep.
But you're still like, it's like a fleisch. No, what's wrong with a piece of fleisch?
Yep.
Good piece of kegel.
Yeah.
With the meat at the bottom.
But you know what? When you make it into Onyx Shabbos, there's a way to Makadish Matav and a Hafcha. We haven't got into that. Right now we're talking about Skafia, subjugating the evil. What about transforming the evil? That's what I'm waiting for. I thought, when I got all excited before, I thought we were going to get to Hafcha. But we were talking about Skafia again. So
when do we start talking about
it was still there, but not. It's waiting for the Hafcha. I want to transform. Yeah, I want to transform the kugu into Avodas
What's
Hashem.
part 2 of this?
It will be the next part of the Sefer Tanya, because Tanya there's the 50 chapters, the beginning chapters of Tanya. Before you get to Geras HaKodesh and Shah Yichud Amunah, there's just the Likutei Moharan. That's the Tanya.
That's 52.
That's 50. How much is it?
51, 52, 50.
How many chapters is it?
50.
Yeah.
51,
Let's
52.
see. 53 chapters. 53 chapters of the Tanya. Yeah. So that's called the first part.
Conclusion of the first part.
And then we get into the Hinuch. This is a beautiful explanation, Hinuch HaKotan, about the Yichud. Then we get to Shah Yichud Amunah. Then we get to Ageres HaTshuva and Ageres HaKodesh, all the letters from the Balatanya, and that pretty much ends up the Sefer. But the main like, if you'd say the Ikka bus of
the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, and potatoes.
How would you say meat and potatoes?
Is meat and potato. Basar and
Tapuach Adama.
Tapuach Adama.
That wouldn't really sound good.
No, it doesn't sound good. Lechem Basar.
Crux.
No, they call it Lechem Basar. That's how they talk.
How does it say?
They say Lechem Basar. That's why there's a restaurant, Lechem Basar.
Yeah.
That's how they talk. They don't say potatoes. They say Lechem Basar. So that's
Yiddish,
the idea.
It's the crux.
Yeah, Lechem Basar of the Sefer is what we're doing now. These 50 chapters, 53 chapters. And remember, the Chabadniks, they learn these. Yeah, we have to stop.
Yeah.
The Chabadniks learn these chapters Baal Peh, by the way.
Shoot.
This becomes part of their life. This is like their essence. Yeah. So anyway, so we got to this concept of the Tzaddik, just to sum up where we're at, that he's holding at a point where the Nefesh Bahamis is hated, Tachlis is Sina, Avo Beinoni, Derech Moshu Ka'odim Shishan. It's like I mentioned it before, it's like a sleeping man.
I gotta go, my wife needs me.
Elor and Mishnasa. And that's the problem. Even these Talmud Chachamim, there's a Avreichim who's still a Beinonim, they're still sleeping there, the YITZCHAK. They didn't hate it with a Tachlis Asina.
I couldn't Chodesh Adar.
Good Chodesh Adar.
Sorry, I gotta run. My wife is like, where?
You are the man. We did a good time.